go. As the world slowly opens up and we enter summer vacation, now seems like a great opportunity to look back at the past year. A trying year that saw many students stuck at home in front of the computer as the days, then the weeks, then the months rolled by. Let's look at what worked and what didn't from a year of online learning. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the channel where we're all about expanding education into the modern era. I'm Connor McIlveen, a designer and education enthusiast, and today we're looking back at the past year to reflect on what did and what didn't work. I've roughly broken this video up into 3 key points, with the first one being technology. We learned a whole lot about technology during this time. In some cases, it worked miracles, and in other cases, well... But the thing is, 10 years ago, a mass transition to online education could not have even happened. We just didn't have the technology that empowers communication today. But these days, we do. We have this amazing, honestly mind-blowing technology. That's not the real problem. Well, maybe it's the problem, but we'll circle back on that in a little bit. The problem is about access. It's easy to think that in our modern era that we all have access to the internet, but the truth is many still don't. Many households do not have a usable computer on hand, and many places across the country, especially in more rural areas, do not have steady access to the high-speed internet strong enough to handle the load of something like a Zoom class. This became problem number 1, as schools spent vast amount of resources just trying to equip students with the technology, usually in the form of a Chromebook and, if needed, a Wi-Fi hotspot. But it wasn't always successful. And even when they succeeded in delivery, some of these households just did not have anyone who was technologically literate enough to diagnose why little Johnny's microphone is not working on Zoom. At the end of the day, this meant that some students were just left behind for a large majority of the year, unable to continue learning from home. But let's say that technology was not the major interference. The next big takeaway from a year of online learning is that structure is everything. It might be kind of a tough pill to swallow for many teachers, but online school cannot be laid out like normal school. You just can't sit a kid down for 7 hours in front of a computer and just expect them to attentively follow. There are many studies that have come out showing that Zoom fatigue is a real thing. We're not used to having to hold eye contact for hours on end, while also being able to see a real image of ourselves to constantly feel self-conscious about. So educators had to learn on the fly that the traditional ways of teaching, like standing in front of a whiteboard, had to be adapted to this new medium. Those that found success did so by creating a more asynchronous learning environment. This meant that the students study the material before class, and class time was shortened and used to promote discussion and to answer questions. Many educators also found success with adapting techniques towards more bite-sized, pre-recorded video content, or using already made material like the stuff found here on YouTube. One of the biggest challenges was just keeping kids engaged. Unlike traditional schools, no one was there looking over their shoulder to make sure what they were doing was right and on time. Parents ended up having to bear the brunt of this responsibility, filling in as one-on-one tutors and accountability partners to make sure things were getting done. This also had a major impact on overall motivation, and more than ever stressed the need for educators to have a clearly defined agenda with easy to understand reasoning for why assignments were what they were. This leads us to our final major takeaway of the video, and probably the most important one. we learned that school is so much more than just learning. There's this great article by the New York Times that had children airing out their griefs a couple of months into the pandemic. And in account after account, almost every child mentions missing the interaction that school brings. School serves as the foundation that our lives are built around for the better part of the first 2 decades of our existence. It's where we learn how to make friends, where we foster our passions for sports or for the arts or for any of the million of after school clubs. It's so much more than just learning. School functions basically as a social primer to the real world, teaching children how to build up the social skills necessary to integrate into this big old mess we call a society. I think this was the biggest downfall to a year of online learning. It wasn't the learning itself, but everything that surrounds it. The little things like walking down the halls, socializing with friends, and even the hectic cafeteria. All this combines to make school school, and something that right now online education can just not replace. Alrighty, everyone. That is it for what I'm thinking are the major learnings from a year of online education. Of course, there are many more, but I'll keep it brief for this one. Thank you for tuning in to my first ever YouTube video, not counting that one I made when I was 12, but hopefully none of you will ever find that. I'm really excited to be starting out on this journey, trying to expand education into the modern era. And hopefully you're interested in going along for the ride. If you like this video, I'd appreciate it if you hit that little like button. It's free and it helps get this video in front of more people to kind of grow our little community. And if you're really liking it, you can always hit subscribe and that little bell to stay up to date with what we're doing and get notified when I post the next video. Speaking of more, here's another video I made that you could check out if you're interested. The socials are down here, and you should join the Discord I'm starting, a place designed to chat about all this kind of stuff. The link's in the description, and the first 100 people to join will automatically be added to the first club and get access to all the future private content for free. Anyways, that's all for me. I'm Connor McIlveen, and bye-bye.